Good evening. Okay, how are we going? Let me just make sure that everything is working fine. Good evening. Oh, that sounded very creepy. Okay, so how are we going today? I hope you are all having a wonderful afternoon. Hi, as always, I'm Julie Hall. Thank you for joining me this evening for Locked in Stitches. As I said, I hope you are having a great afternoon and a wonderful week. It's been an interesting one. Today's a little bit. Does anybody remember that that song that kids certainly sang in the late 70s, early 80s? And I can still remember the kid who taught it to me. Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, think I'm gonna eat worms, short ones, skinny ones, fat ones, long ones, ones that wiggle and worm, etc. and so forth. Well, that's been my day today. I'm having an eat worms kind of day. So I hope your day is going better than mine. But hopefully I'll get through all of this without sopping up. So today we are going to make this very cute little rope basket. So ever since we've started Locked in Stitches back in 2020, I've tried to include a rope project each year because there's many different ways that we can use rope and that we can create different projects for. So it's always one of those fun ones for me to find a new way of doing things. One of the things that I have noticed from various forums such as Facebook and YouTube and things like that is people who've got an embroidery only machine or one of the older embroidery machines where you cannot set the presser foot height have a lot of difficulty with the embroidering on these baskets, bowls, whatever. And the reason for that is because the rope is thick. The foot sits at a standard height and therefore it has trouble. So what we're doing here is we are creating our base as a piece of fabric. And then I'm going to show you exactly how I go through and stitch it all together. Now, we are going to do a couple of different things this evening. Good evening to Helen Cassidy and Michelle Reynolds and Trish Callum. Good evening, Ray Smith. Thank you for joining us. I really do appreciate it. But what I do want to get started, because I have done pre-stitching this one because it was a 78-minute stitch out. And I figured you guys wouldn't be too thrilled doing that. And then on top of that, learning to put the bowl together. So I've got my stitching on 600 and I've got 24 minutes left to go. And good evening, Denise. Thank you for coming along. Oh, and look, I am blessed to have so many wonderful people. I've had friends checking in on me since they heard I was having a shitty day. I've had my beautiful sister when I told her that, because at the end of it, it's my car that I bought last September. Look, we bought it secondhand. We knew it was a bit of a piece of shit. But my car has, it hasn't died. It's running quite well, but it's not worth registering is what we've been told today. So this is 100% cotton fabric, and underneath it I've got a piece of bag foam. Links to the bag foam are, if you want to purchase, are in the show notes. But you can do this on other items. For instance, on cork. So when I was at IKEA on the weekend, saw these cork placemats. They're about 2 mil thick, and they just kind of cool. Now the spots did attract me because I'm a huge spotty kind of a person, but the other side attracted me more. And I have stitched out, and this is the 26 centimetre size, so this is the largest or second largest size. And I've stitched my design out on that, and I figure that's going to make a really nice base for a bowl. So you can use fabric, you could even use deck. Oh, Hessian would be nice. Good evening, Adele. Thank you for joining us. Helen Cassidy, thank you for coming along. Let me go back to our lovely design here. Yeah, I think Hessian would be really nice. And the other one is I've been working on a set of designs, and I'll just show you one of them. And this was the other one that I was actually thinking, and I might actually do the one on the weekend out of one of these designs. Don't you hate it when something hasn't synced from one machine to the other? Ready to digitize. Yes, the Hessian would really go through nicely with the rope. But I was also thinking how nice one of these open weavish sort of designs would go as well. And good evening to Gail Murphy and Rita Young. Thank you for coming along. But what I wanted to show you, and I'm going to do something different this evening, is I'm going to show you how I come through, and this is on my artistic digitizer software. And look, I am not an expert on this, so if I stuff it up, you're going to have to bear with me a little bit. Let me just come in there a little. But what I want to show is how I come through and open up, for instance, one of these gorgeous designs. Only to have the program stop on me. And I can't remember whether I said hello to Sally J. Good evening, Sally. Thank you for joining us. So here I've got one of our designs. This is a 130 design. Now, if I want to put a basting stitch around that, and what I'm meaning here is I want to put a circle around that design. I was hoping I could come in and do it as a shape, but what I need to do is actually use the digitize option and then come through and mark up those points. Once I've got them marked, I can remove any fill and just have it there as artwork, and I can make sure that my line is an outline. And then if I go into the nodes, what I should be able to do is come through, add the node. That's what I did wrong. I didn't add a node. And then so I'm creating that circle to where our design is, and I'm just dragging everything out so that it makes a really pretty circle. And one of the reasons that I'm doing it this way is because I'm bound and determined to teach myself how to use this software. Okay, once I've got that done, I can then make that circle larger. So now I've got, just from a design that I've purchased, I've now got it within that frame. Now, this is me being a little bit cheeky because I'm lazy. If I want to add a satin stitch to that at the end, and I want it to be a 3mm satin. Which I'm then going to have to drag in a little bit to make it meet the parameters. And we've got Stacey over as well. Good evening. And I'm just going to new. I want that white, but I want that pink, let's say. And it's always the little ones that get you, isn't it? Okay, so that's pink. That's blue. And then I'm right to load it up onto my screen. And that's going to give me that satin outline that I need. Now let's come back and have a look at what... Okay, so Michelle's saying in the FAF software you've got the ability to do a shape in either the draw window, in Digitizing, or in the basic program. Absolutely. And that's it. Every software is that little bit different, and I'm really trying to teach myself so that I can get the most out of out of the Artistic Digitizer product. Now, at the same time, I am going to work with grey thread tonight, with grey rope, and I've got then grey thread and a grey bobbin to match. So hopefully I'm a little bit prepared. So what's everybody else been up to? I'm loving how this is looking on the screen because it's looking so much, it's actually a real fluoro green here face to face, but it looks so much more delicate on the screen. Okay, so Michelle's asking, do I find the embroidery thread strong enough to join the rope? I do. I haven't had a problem with that. As you know, as we are all aware, there are different qualities of embroidery thread, and the same with stitching. I made a stupid mistake this morning, and I fell in love with a really nice burgundy thread to do on the cork, which is all well and good, but it's one of those crappy threads that's been in my stash forever. And it's because it's crappy that it's been in my stash, don't get me wrong. But I thought, oh, I've got time, that'll be fine. Yeah, not so much. I was thread lubing that thing, it shredded, but I persevered. One of the things that I love about these designs is that you can really easily use a multicolored thread. So think of all those threads that you've got, that are, you know, that are multicolored. Something like that. Ray Smith wraps for rope with scraps of fabric. Absolutely. And that's what I love about the whole rope bowl thing. There's so many different ways to do it. I did actually see another digitizer had out a set of coasters, and her premise was that they were done in the hoop, or this company's premise was that they were done in the hoop. But you have to, and I was fascinated. So, you know, I watched the video. I love seeing how other people's thought processes go. And the concept is that you wind the entire thing and then basically glue it together, flip it over and glue it onto a piece of stabilizer that's within a very certain shape, and then you put it all then it does the stitching. But instead of doing the zigzag stitching that we're used to, what this digitizer's done is done a crosshatch stitch. I mean, it's quite fascinating. It'd be an interesting one to try. And look, Michelle, that's kind of the first thing that turned me off, the idea of work. Second thing that turned me off, as you guys know, I'm not a huge fan of glue. And I'm really not a huge fan of glue near my machine. pretty. So Michelle, you're absolutely right. A sticky stabiliser would be a better thing. Still not a huge fan of this generally. I mean, I've got a roll of sticky stabiliser that I've had there for more than 10 years now. Not a massive fan of it, just because, again, it seems to gum up the needles more than other things. And I know there's different qualities of that. And under the right circumstances, I will use a sticky. I don't mind using a sticky as a way to get away from recouping. Lucinda Williams is watching. Thank you for joining. Now, these designs are a really funny one because when I looked at them last week when I started using them for this project, they were initially digitized back in 2019. And for some reason, I just never released them. I don't know why. So it was a really nice one to release and to play with. The other thing that I do like with this is because it's got those little bits of candle with it, it really does have a beautiful amount of texture. On the upside, I might have been having a crappy day today. However, my darling boy, he won't bring me home loaves of bread from work, but he did bring home today croissants and other French pastries. Unfortunately, the one that I picked up to eat had to be the one with sultanas. You know when you think you're getting something with chocolate and you get a nice big mouthful of sultanas instead? It's just a depressing way to eat. Okay. Oh, that's an interesting question, Michelle. So, Ray Smith, do you find it easier to stitch the rope once it's wrapped in fabric? Now, from a stitching point of view, I'm stitching at 600 stitches a minute on this. When I was stitching on the core, I was stitching at 500 stitches a minute. Okay, so now we get to the added circles that I've added here. So, first circle, just to show me exactly where we are going to trim. So you guys know how much I love my squizzes, and they are perfect for doing the small little bits. Like, I'm just going to get rid of some of this outline stuff, and that's because I'm trimming. But to cut through the fibrous ness of the bag foam, you are going to need something a little bit more. And by a little bit more, what I mean is a little bit stronger. And I'll show you my favourite ones. And one of the reasons I cleaned up my desk today was because I was looking for these. So normally I just wait till the end, and you can see I'm only undoing the stitches around where I need them. Okay. So, these are my favourite ones, and I honestly could not tell you where I got them. They've been around forever, and they're just really good for coming through because they've got that little bit of a curve on them. They really do a good job. Coming through and sitting flat and letting you get quite close. Now, once we've done that, we still have an ugly back. Oh, Michelle, you are absolutely right. If the house is clean, somebody's in trouble. It might be myself, but we know it's somebody. So I am using tearaway, and I haven't torn through the tearaway. So then I'm just going to attach a back piece. And Christine Annabelle's with us as well. Thank you for joining. Okay, and because I've only got one layer, now I can go back to my little squizzies. And for me, the squizzies are all about the control. And the final colour. Now I've just done a really open work zigzag here, as you will see. Oh my god. Look at that, the first round of rope. Bloody hell. On a good day I might be that clever, but we both know I'm never that patient. So I've been getting really good feedback from people that they're loving on a Sunday afternoon when I'm showing some of the little tricks of digitizing. Joy of that is twofold. As long as you guys continue liking it, I will continue doing it. The other thing is I'm updating my qualification. because I am a trainer by trade. And as part of that, I will have to run a training course. If they let me do it as a virtual training event, I'm going to be asking for a hands up of people who might want to sit through 2 one-hour digitizing classes in weeks to come. Okay, so this little guy's finished. And now what I want to actually show you is I am going to actually add the rope. So this one, and I'll add the rope to this one on Sunday afternoon. So you can see my finished piece there. But tonight I'm going to add the rope to this guy. So what I need to do is turn it into an ordinary sewing machine. And then take my foot off and place on the correct foot. Now, what I personally have found, and I've actually heard somebody say the exact opposite of what I'm going to tell you, so I'm happy to caveat it. Oh, that's fabulous. That would be absolutely wonderful, ladies. I would be very appreciative. The only thing you'd have to do is fill out a questionnaire on me at the end of it. I'll tell you what to say. You'll say I'm brilliant, of course. But I personally have not had any luck doing this with a walking foot. So the foot that I'm using is not actually a walking foot. And I'm going to come through and I'm going to pick a zigzag stitch. Now I am using a, let's see the details on my rope. Crafter's choice, yada yada yada. I'm pretty sure it's a 4mm rope, but I'm still going to use 5.5mm stitch and a width of, let's start with 3.5. Okay, now realistically it does not matter where you begin. What I have found though is, for me, it's all about how this unravels. If I put my macrame cord here and I let it unravel this way, it causes an extra kink in the rope. Instead, if I lay it down this way and it rolls off, I get a much straighter sort of a stitch. And all I do to start is just get myself a bit of rope. Michelle Reynolds uses the open toe foot. I had thought about that one, but my open toe is a little bit more open than I'd like it to be. And I'm going to leave a tag. So first reason is because this is a little bit flopsy and it's unraveled a bit. and it gives me something to then hide. And it is worth doing some practice and working out exactly what your machine needs. Now, the other thing that I do, nope, not that one, is put my presser foot lift on, because I'll be coming around. Why, Delilah, is that not working? Ah, that's why. It's always got to be something simple, hasn't it? No. Okay, so Murphy's Law says that today is going to be a little bit of a shit show. So let's have a look and see if we can work out exactly what's happening. When in doubt, have you tried turning it on and off again? Oh, that's not a bad idea. Helen Cassidy's saying, could you use the knee lift? I kind of like that idea. Okay. Yeah. Let's see. Okay. So I always want to make sure that the feature that turns, that makes sure that the needle always goes in the downwards position, is turned on. And I like to have the presser foot lift there as well. And I have no problem using a nice slow stitch. I always think grey and red go really well together. And it's all about finding that stitch speed that works best for you. And I always go slower on the first couple than the next ones. But I'd prefer to go slower and not have it sort of bunch up or anything. Or miss stitches. That's always my big thing. And I do better controlling my speed slower, like setting the absolute speed, than I do just using the presser foot. But that's just a personal thing. Okay, so now we're coming to our join. And all I'm going to do So is there anybody who hasn't made a rope bowl yet? Okay, so all I'm going to do is basically stitch over that join. And then that's what starts our next row. And I want to do 3 rows before I shape. And what I mean by that is before I lift the base up to start giving it a side. Now, I am kind of weaving this in a little bit because it just gives you a stronger all over finish. The other thing I like with using fabric or cork as a base, as well as not having that bubble butt, you also, certainly with the cork, you end up with great like thermal properties as well. Okay. So we'll wind some more thread off, and then now I am going to come through on this one and just finish cutting that off, because now that we've done 3 rows, what I'm going to do is start lifting up. And as soon as you start lifting, and to me this is kind of like when I finish here I go and watch Great Pottery Throwdown, and to me this is very, very similar in shaping and keeping it even. Back to stage 1, and you can already see that's given us the first part of our lift. Another row down. Oh, that's starting to look quite nice. I'm liking. Now, I am going to speed it up a little again because I'm getting more confident. I'm getting more comfortable. What I know I can't do, could you use the yarn couching foot? For which part? For this? No. For the embroidery, it's not going to make any difference. Now, you can see there. Now, I really must say, guys, thank you so much too. After a kind of crappy afternoon, you guys, being here with you guys virtually has been exactly what I've needed. And if anyone there's having a bad day, I hope being around us all is the same for you. It would be very nice in those rope bags, wouldn't it? You'll have to wait a couple of weeks for that one. And then you just go on until you get the size bowl that you are after. So I'm going to do a relatively shallow bowl here. I kind of just like the idea of it being on the kitchen table, having maybe some fruit or something like that in it. The other trick is to always try and finish off round about that same point that you started. It's a good idea actually, putting the phones in at mealtime. Oh my heavens, people would have to talk to each other. So what I'm looking for now is where, and I'll just show you. So this is what I'm seeing. I'm just looking for where that beginning stitch was. And that will show me around about where I want to finish. Okay. So coming up on that now. And all I'm going to do is do a quick tie off there. Okay, so this is my bowl. And I think that's looking kind of gorgeous. Now, what I need to do is work out exactly how I want to finish that off. So I think I'm going to do the little snail finish. And to do that, I'm just going to cut a little bit of extra rope. So this is where my finish is. Cut my rope and set it aside and wind from the end. And this is where, when you're using a really soft macrame rope as opposed to the clothesline rope, this is where it does get a little more difficult. But trying to keep a lot of my threads out of the way as I go, because I know that's something that I suck at. And then all we're going to do is okay, so he wants me to go all the way over there. So I'm measuring up as I'm going and seeing just how large I need to make this. And now you can decide whether you want this to be on the outside or the inside. What I'm going to do is now go through and stitch that across, and then now you can add a dab of glue to that if you wish, but what you are left with, I got the cork from IKEA. So what you are left with is this beautiful large, and when I say large, if you look at the base of that, that is 11 inches wide. I was umming and ahhing over whether or not to put a backing on the cork. What I did think of doing was gluing a piece of felt to the back of that, just to protect the table. Or alternatively, another piece of cork. So the cork that I have used is the IKEA cork placemat. And if we come over here, let me just, okay, monitor screen, IKEA. Okay, so you don't want these coasters because they're way too thick, but these are the placemats that I've used, and what I will do is I will put a link in the notes for that. Okay, so what are we thinking about that one? Can you see yourself using that as an alternative, a different way to make a rope project? Doesn't have to be a bowl. You could keep things flat and go with the turning a placemat into a placemat, I guess. There are many different options there for you, and I'm going to have a play with some of them again on Sunday. So I love that one. I think it's a really good and simple project, and has a real sense of elegance about it. So I hope you have enjoyed this project. Next week we'll do more of our block of the month designs, and we will we're coming up on now month 8 on those, which is just amazing. So I hope you have, oh my heavens, Lisa, you've never been to IKEA? You're going to have to come down and visit, my darling. And you can order online. So that's my project of the day. I hope you have enjoyed that, and I'll see you next time. Until then, have a stitching day, guys. Bye.